Okay, so welcome to another deep dive with us. And today, we're going to jump straight into something that I find absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that is very applicable to all of us in our everyday lives, but also something that most of us probably haven't thought about too deeply before.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is how we communicate effectively with each other.
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at a couple of sources that are exploring what's called the SGL methodology.
Okay.
And our mission today with this deep dive is really to give you some practical insights into how understanding different communication styles and
Yeah.
the power of storytelling
Right.
can make you a more effective communicator.
Totally.
Whether that's at work, at home, with your family, or just in your everyday life.
And
It's
mostly-
about understanding not just what you say, but also how it's received and remembered.
Yeah, exactly. Think of this as kind of a shortcut to becoming a more intuitive communicator.
Right.
And we're not just going to skim the surface here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to extract the core principles that you can use immediately to connect with others on a deeper level.
I love that. Okay, so let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
One of the things that I found so interesting
Yeah.
from the sources right off the bat
Mm-hmm.
is that even with the rise of AI and all of the incredible things that AI is doing,
Yeah.
the need for us to connect with each other
Yes.
as humans
Right.
doesn't diminish. In
Yeah.
fact, it becomes even more vital.
It really does. And what I find fascinating about that is it kind of throws the unique strengths of human interaction into sharper relief.
Yeah.
And the material we've been looking at even talks about debate, and love, and love, and navigating our relationship with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a powerful reminder that,
Yeah.
those fundamental human elements
Mm-hmm.
of discussion and empathy, they're irreplaceable.
I think that's so important, and it leads right into this idea of you as a storyteller.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not necessarily you getting up on a stage and telling a story,
Right.
but it's this concept that through our digital footprints, through our clicks,
Yes.
our searches, our likes, we are
Just,
constantly
I'll
telling
say
a story
so.
about who we are.
Yeah, think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every interaction online
Yeah,
leaves a trace.
it does.
And collectively, those traces, they form a narrative.
Right.
And what's so insightful, I think, is recognizing how these small actions contribute to building trust and credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your online story aligns with your authentic self,
Yeah.
it can actually make connecting with others feel less daunting.
It's like putting your genuine self out there
Exactly.
piece by piece.
Bit by bit, yeah.
And I think our sources really underscore the importance of being mindful
Yeah,
of these traces we leave behind
absolutely.
in all of our communication,
Totally.
both online and off.
Yep,
It really makes you think about the consistency,
Right.
right, between what you say and what you do.
precisely. And that awareness, I think, is a great entry point for us to understand this SGL methodology,
Okay.
which offers a structured way
Yes, tell me more.
to think about the different colors or
Okay.
frequencies
Okay.
of our communication.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. So
Yeah.
the SGL methodology
Yeah.
uses colors,
It does?
blue, red, yellow, and purple,
Uh-huh.
to represent different communication styles.
Yes.
And the idea is that every message that we send has a dominant color,
It does.
and that understanding these colors can help us tailor our communication for
Mhm.
better impact.
For sure.
So let's break it down, starting with blue.
Okay.
What is blue all about?
So blue is what they call the head language.
Okay.
It's all about logic, facts, data, things that are measurable.
Okay.
So when you're communicating in blue,
Yeah.
you're focusing on being rational and analytical.
So blue is like the language of spreadsheets and scientific reports.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. And, thinking in blue can be really effective
Mhm.
for establishing your credibility up front, especially when you're presenting data.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful because over-reliance on blue can sometimes feel a bit
Yeah.
cold or distant.
Right. Okay, so then we have red.
Yes, red is the heart language.
Okay, the heart language. So that's about making those personal-person connections.
Absolutely.
Creating a sense of safety and really ensuring that your message resonates
Mm-hmm.
emotionally.
Red is about empathy, about building rapport, and making sure that your audience feels understood.
So it's the language of connection.
It is, but too much red without any substance can come across as overly sentimental
Okay.
or lacking concrete information.
Interesting. Okay, so blue is logic, red is emotion.
Yeah.
And then we have yellow,
Yes, yellow the stomach language.
stomach language. Okay, I'm intrigued.
This one's tied to values, authenticity, that gut feeling a message evokes.
Okay.
It's about whether something feels genuine
Uh-huh.
and valuable.
Okay.
So that's the key insight with yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about conveying your genuine purpose and the value you bring.
Mm-hmm.
If your message doesn't feel authentic or if it doesn't resonate with someone's core values,
Yeah.
it's unlikely to stick.
Okay.
No matter how logical
Right.
or emotionally appealing,
Mm-hmm.
it might be otherwise.
So if you think about like a mission statement,
Yes,
that would be something that would ideally speak to that yellow level.
exactly.
Okay, I got it. So blue, red, yellow, and last but not least, we get purple.
Yeah, purple, the body language.
Body language.
Now, this isn't just about like physical gestures. It's
Okay.
about the overall visual and sensory impression.
Okay.
Think design layout, even your personal presentation.
Okay.
The source says a picture created by this code can be incredibly powerful.
Wow.
Like a well-designed food recipe
Oh, yeah.
that makes your mouth water just by looking at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So purple is about the immediate impact of visuals and sensory details.
That makes sense.
Think about a cluttered slide in the presentation versus a clean, visually engaging one.
Mm-hmm.
They both convey a message.
They
or
do?
beyond the words.
Absolutely.
Think about how someone's professional attire in a negotiation
Yeah.
can signal confidence
Mm-hmm.
and attention to detail.
It's true.
These are all examples of the purple language at play.
Okay, so we have these 4 colors languages.
We do.
Blue, red, yellow, purple.
Mm-hmm.
How do we consciously use this framework to craft more effective stories? Because that's what the sources really emphasize.
Yeah, so the SGL methodology suggests that crafting effective stories involves a few key things.
Okay.
First, a conscious awareness of your words and these color languages.
Okay.
Second, a deep understanding of your target audience.
Okay.
And third, a crystal clear main message.
All right.
And crucially, you need to define your purpose.
Okay.
What are you aiming to achieve with your story?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to introduce yourself,
Right.
demonstrate your value, or build a lasting relationship?
Okay.
Knowing your why informs the how of your storytelling.
Right. You have to know what you want your story to achieve.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the sources makes a really compelling connection between storytelling and our ancient past, highlighting the power of oral tradition.
What's insightful, I think, is recognizing that storytelling isn't just some, modern trend.
Yeah.
It's deeply ingrained in human history.
Mm-hmm.
For over 2,000 years, it was the primary way that knowledge and culture were transmitted.
That's amazing.
And when we tell stories,
Yeah.
we're tapping into a very primal way of connecting and learning.
Wow.
And it resonates beyond just the information being shared.
Mm-hmm.
It engages us on a much deeper level, often hitting that purple level
Right.
with vivid imagery
Yeah.
and triggering emotional responses related to pleasure and pain, what we want to move towards and what we want to avoid.
So stories aren't just entertaining.
Right.
They're connecting with us
Yeah.
on a fundamental,
Yes.
almost instinctive level.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how does this SGL framework guide us in actually structuring these stories?
All right. So the framework proposes a classic 3-part structure.
Okay.
A beginning, a middle, and an end.
Got it.
And interestingly, it echoes this ancient rhetorical advice to describe the past, move the present, and please the future.
Okay, so let's map those onto our color framework.
Okay.
Describing the past.
Yeah.
That sounds like setting the stage with blue facts.
It does.
Right, the objective information, just to give context.
Exactly. You're establishing that groundwork, the logical foundation of your story.
Okay.
Then moving the present involves using that red heart language to connect emotionally with your audience now, and also leveraging those engaging purple images to make your message vivid and memorable in the present moment.
I like that. And then pleasing the future. That feels like it connects with the yellow gut feeling.
It does.
Leaving your audience with a sense of hope, value, and a positive, lasting impression.
Precisely, a well-structured story using the SGL lens takes your audience on a journey that engages their intellect, blue, their emotions, red, their values, and their senses, purple, all within a coherent narrative.
So powerful. And I think, the source shares a really powerful anecdote.
Oh, yeah.
That brings all of this to life.
It does.
The story of the seminar speech and the participant with the lump of peat.
Yes.
That image really stuck with me.
I know. It's a fantastic illustration of how the SGL principles can be applied in a simple yet incredibly impactful way.
So tell me more.
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
You're at a seminar dinner, and a young man pulls out this plastic bag containing a large, dry, unassuming lump of peat.
Peat?
Yeah, peat. And that unexpected visual, the purple element, right, immediately creates curiosity. And then he uses this ordinary object to create this powerful analogy, comparing the peat to the initial reserve of the group, and how, through their shared experience and learning, they've opened up and become more vibrant, needing water and nourishment to flourish, just like the peat. And what makes this so effective is the multisensory experience. He doesn't just talk about it. He physically pours water onto the peat.
Oh, wow.
And you can almost feel the shift in the room, the silent observation, the dawning understanding.
That's powerful.
And then comes that resonant message. Think of the possibilities we have if we become each other's gardeners.
Wow, that's so good.
That hits that yellow level of shared values and potential.
Wow.
So the response is incredible. A moment of complete silence as the message lands. And then enthusiastic applause, laughter, genuine smiles.
It gave me chills.
And then he gets this deeply personal request to use the speech at his wedding.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
It just shows how profoundly that story resonated.
It really does. And it wasn't just the novelty of the peat.
Right.
It was the skillful weaving together of a tangible object, purple, heartfelt emotion and connection, a message of shared growth and potential, all grounded in the shared experience of the seminar.
It's a perfect example of SGL in action.
It really is, and it highlights how even a simple everyday object can become this powerful tool for storytelling and connection.
For sure.
And I love that the source wraps up with a very practical piece of homework for you, our listener.
The suggestion is to intentionally invite someone, a partner, a friend, for a meal, and use this opportunity to share something important to you while consciously applying these SGL principles. Think about a message you've been wanting to convey and structure it with these different color languages in mind.
Oh, that's so good. And the source suggests that you can pretty much guarantee a positive reaction.
I think so.
It's a great way to experiment with these ideas in a low-stakes environment and see the impact for yourself.
It is. It's about moving from unconscious communication to a more deliberate and impactful way of connecting.
Love that. So as we bring this deep dive to a close, we've explored this increasing importance of human connection in the age of AI.
For sure.
We've recognized that you are already a storyteller.
You are.
And how embracing that can strengthen your relationship.
Absolutely.
And then we unpacked this SGL methodology.
We did.
And it's 4 color-coded communication styles. Blue for logic, red for emotion, yellow for values, and purple for visual impact.
Yes, and understanding and intentionally using these different communication colors provides you with a valuable toolkit for connecting more effectively and meaningfully in all aspects of your life.
So, well said. So here is your final food for thought.
Ooh, I like it.
I want you to think back to a recent conversation where you felt like your message didn't quite land the way that you intended. Considering the SGL framework, what color might your communication have been dominated by? And how could you have intentionally incorporated other colors to create a different, perhaps more impactful outcome?
That's a good question.
What color do you naturally gravitate towards? And how might you consciously expand your communication palette to connect more fully with the diverse individuals you interact with?
It's all about becoming a more mindful and versatile communicator.
It really is.
Yeah.
So fascinating. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us for another deep dive, and we will see you next time.
See ya.